Darren just asked me, what are you going to speak about today? I said, no idea. Nothing. It's what I usually speak about. So maybe we'll talk about everything today, rather than nothing. So you will have heard that this is a message. You'll have heard me say this message quite a few times. And if you've listened to any other speakers who talk about this, whatever this is, then you'll have heard them talk about this message. And this is really a message that doesn't have a message. This is a message just saying it is as it is, which you could say that's not a message really, is it? Other than stating the bleeding obvious, as my grandfather would have said. If he could hear me speaking about this, I can feel him turning in his grave, saying, what is he on about? Stating the bleeding obvious. Because this is what we're talking about. So this is a message of the bleeding obvious. And it is no message at all. Because a message is there's something important you've got to hear. And then once you've heard it, your life will be transformed by this message. Well, you might have noticed that you've heard this message a lot already, and you're still waiting for the transformation to occur. Is that not how it feels? And what this message says about that waiting for the transformation to happen, well, yeah, that's it. If that's how it is, that is how it is. That's what's happening. There isn't anything wrong with waiting for a transformation to happen. It feels pretty shit, I know, but there isn't anything essentially wrong with that. That's equally what's happening if that's what's happening. If that's how it is, that's how it is. That's the whole message. I mean, why would anyone listen to that? And that's why I can sense my grandfather turning in his grave and saying, well, that's bloody useful. Thanks very much. So that's why you could say that this is a message without a message. This is a message that is staring you in the face, that is not saying anything specific. It's just saying this is. This is. This is. You don't know what this is. It's whatever it is. It's not helpful. And I can feel that there's no point in speaking about it. And there aren't many weeks that I don't prepare to come and speak to you and think, well, what's the point? And if that question comes up, which it does, what's the point? It's all pretty pointless, isn't it, Tim? Why are you doing that? Why are you speaking to people about this when it's just obvious? And you're not actually telling anyone of anything of any value. Well, the only thing that replies is, well, I can't even say there is a reply, but the reply is because it's loving. It feels like love because there isn't anything else. And the looking for something other than what there is really excruciating. And there is something incredibly beautiful about there isn't anything more to find. That there isn't anything other than exactly what there is. And you don't need to know what there is for there to be what there is. I listen to enough of this to know that it's not useful. But if you hear it, if it's heard, you can't unhear it. I found that the most dreadful part. As a seeker, if once I'd heard it, there was no escape. And no escape can sound like imprisonment, and it can sound dreadful, but it's quite the opposite. That's why this message is often called liberation, a message of liberation. And it's really liberated. The liberation is from seeking, from that intense desire to find what else there is, because this isn't it. This isn't how it should be. This isn't what I wanted. So there are thousands of messages about getting what you want, about making life better, about making life complete. Life is complete. Life is whole. Don't get me wrong, it can be completely awful. It could be completely sad. Completely dreadful, as well as completely beautiful. completely loving, there's no exclusions, there's nothing, there's no exceptions, nothing's accepted, nothing's rejected. It's me that rejects life as it is. It's me that says this shouldn't be happening. And even that rejection, that's also included, if that's how it is. One of the strangest things about this is that it is self-compassion. There's such great self-compassion for no self. That's completely paradoxical, I know, but there's great compassion for the character, for particularly the rejected parts of self, that self, you know, the righteous self rejected the shadow, as it's often called in psychology, the bits that you hid from the world and you tried to hide from yourself. So freedom for those. Freedom from the, it's a bit like the weather. The weather, you know, you want it to be sunny and it's grey and cloudy, like it's been grim here today. And you could call it depressing weather. But the depressing aspect of the weather, or the reason why it would feel depressing, is because I don't want it. I reject it. I don't like the clouds. I don't like the rain. I don't like the cold. It's wrong. It shouldn't be like this. And that's how it is with emotions for self so often. When you go, oh, I don't want this feeling. I don't want this emotion. I don't want this sadness. I don't want this loss. But here it is anyway. I'm guessing you've tried to manage your emotions. You've tried to manage your thoughts, that you were told your thoughts lead to your emotional state, you know. So you've tried to control your thoughts. You tried to manage your thinking. Wow, is that hard work? And the worst thing, I feel the worst thing that can happen is a little success in that department. Because if I think back, I had some success in that, or at least I I believed I did. And so there was nothing me loved more than that, to feel the power of controlling thoughts and emotions. Oh, I'm really in charge now. I'm managing my thinking and I'm managing my emotions. Well, at least it got me back to work for a while anyway. So of course, everyone else said that was success. It so wasn't. But it seemed like it for a while. So the most beautiful thing is that none of it's yours. There's no owner of anything. There's no possessor of anything. I mean, isn't it incredible that we, you know, from a child, say a child of 3 or 4, and we attribute, and we're very proud as parents and responsible adults, making sure that we attribute the emotions, the actions, the feelings, the thoughts, the words that a child says to them and make them responsible. It's quite dreadful, really, but there we go. It's all done with the best intention, because self believes in self responsibility. You know, it's for your own good that your parents did that. But there really is no one to forgive. There really is no one to blame. There really is no one to feel guilty. And I guess of all emotions, probably the most suffering comes from guilt, more than anything else, that I'm responsible. Because blame can feel really nice, can't it? Self loves blame. Well, at least it's not me. At least this one's not on me. And it's a terrible game. Awful. Anyway, well, that's what I'm talking about today, Darren. I don't know. Whatever. So welcome, everybody. You're welcome to share anything about what I've said or anything else, and ask questions, or just to share how it is.
If anyone wants to ask a question, you can just open your mic.
Yeah.
Do you believe that the other reason you
Who's
share...
this, Scott? Hi, Scott.
It's Michael.
Oh, sorry, Michael.
Oh, no worries.
Hi, Michael.
Hi. Is it your belief that the other reason you share is that you have no choice? It's
Yeah.
not yeah.
No, because I'm not. There aren't many weeks that the thought doesn't come up. Well, not this. Yeah, not this week. That was how it was today, for sure. So I had a chat with a friend this afternoon, and I was chatting with him, and I was thinking, I've got nothing to say. Because there's no doubt, it feels like, well, I've said it 1,000 times. I don't need to say. It's not helping anyone. It's not helpful. Why are you doing this, Tim? Yeah, so those you could call it self-doubt.
I think the love is helpful. I think the compassion that I feel in you, and I'm sure everyone else does, gentleness and warmth in their eyes. I'm looking around the room now. It's your love that resonates to the core. Their playfulness, your little boyness.
Yeah.
It's nice to be in your company. I don't think you can see that except when we reflect it back at you.
Yeah.
But just the joy of being human is.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's great. Thank you, Michael. Well, the
Oh.
one thing that we can't see when aren't we always shocked when somebody gives us a compliment? No, it is. It's usually really shocking because you go, really? Obviously. And I usually reply with, really? Obviously, you don't know me.
Yeah, this whole
Self
thing.
is so self-deprecating by, the nature of most selves.
Truly.
Yeah.
This whole thing, I got it at the secondhand store. So that's a pretty shirt. Oh, this whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what's this? Yeah. It's true, yeah. But and that, yeah, with appearance, I'm quite vain. So with appearance, I will take it and go, oh, I'm glad you've noticed, maybe. But with when it's about personal I've always thought I was gorgeous, Michael. But with the if you say about character, about love, or then that's whether it's a cultural thing, it's a very English thing to not ever say that about oneself or even acknowledge it to yourself. I'm saying this English. I think it's maybe human nature not to do that, but don't get me wrong. It's beautiful when you say it. When it is reflected from someone, from another, then yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't think you can't ever see Tim because he is a mental fabrication, but we can. We can tell you how beautiful you truly are. And somehow in the mirror neurons that takes the shape of love somehow, and this imaginary place between. But you are beautiful. It's lovely listening to you share. It's thrilling in a way. I think everyone here probably resonates with that. But you can never see your own beauty, but we can.
No. Well, the truth is, no one ever sees themselves. That's the truth. I mean, that's the truth. You can't. There's nothing to see. And it really feels like that. If that's why I usually mock self-inquiry and introspection generally. I can't help but mock it because it seemed to me when I did self-inquiry, because I'd read Nisargadatta or Maharaj, one or the other, and of course I thought that, well, this is the way. Yeah, of course, I've been told. So it seemed to take me about 5-10 minutes to realize there was nothing to, there was absolutely nothing. I couldn't find anything. It was just it was a big open space of, I don't know. It just, and then, so then I read of people who have been doing self-inquiry as a method for 30 years. And after 30 years, they realized that there wasn't anything to find. Well, I would just suggest that there's better ways to spend your time. It'd be better going to have coffee with friends, wouldn't it? Probably. I don't know. That's this character. I'm, very social. So if you like sitting alone, but yeah, thanks, Michael. Yeah, the motivation is love, but it's hard to convey the love. Well, the love is the impossibility. You can't convey it. It's just, yeah, you can do your best. You can do your best to say I love you, but the words don't necessarily, they don't necessarily hit home. they don't necessarily, well, they don't convey the love. The love's unspeakable. And for a while, I never mentioned the word love. And I knew there was a reason why I didn't mention love. It's because it sounded too romantic. And I didn't have any sense of romanticism about this. That I still don't. This isn't romantic. It's brutal. It's brutally raw and completely alive, like an aliveness that is dreadfully real, wonderfully, dreadfully alive. And it's the inclusiveness that makes me I think there's a wariness about love, because I just have a sense that often love is misheard. Love is misheard as some sort of romantic fairy tale. And this is without a doubt the end of fairy tales. This isn't speaking of a fairy tale ending. Not at all. I mean, if you want fairy tales, there's loads of good fairy tale storytellers out there who you can go to and listen to, who will tell you beautiful stories with wonderful endings to come. You know, sometime in the distant future, when all will be perfect and beautiful. Well, that's fine if that soothes your pain, then I guess that's what you'll go for. But this isn't about soothing your pain. Pain is pain, and pain's painful. And the wonderful thing is that the love is the pain as well as the glory. You could say there's nothing more painful than love. But there's nothing more alive, is there? And that's what this is. Just this aliveness. You don't need to know it. It just is as it is. Completely alive. Okay, has anyone else got anything they'd like to share? Or ask me?
Hans has got his hand up.
Hans.
It glues me on this, what is your response to Michael. I really loved it, what he was sharing, and the response is we're so wiping all nothing, not away. It just blanks it all. There is no personal love. It sounds like to you, or what you saying appears like this, but it's we had a talk this afternoon. I can't say it. I don't find a word.
No.
And
no.
in so far, really true. I'm so shocked the last days that there is really no message, even if we still talking about kind like this as it were. It isn't.
Yeah.
But still, there's no message. This is it. Yeah. The way it get wipes, it get blanked, it get clean. I don't know how to say it. You know,
No, there aren't the words. You know, you're so right, Hans. There aren't the words. That's their futility. You know, you can feel. But then they're, like Michael said, maybe it's just, of course, it is like that. That there isn't a choice. If there's speaking about this, then there is. Yeah, there isn't a choice. Even though you know there aren't the words. Speaking or not.
It's just it just pulls me just into it like this. It sounds like, it feels like, or I don't know. And it's great. It's great. I can't. There's no way out. I'm totally lost with it.
Yeah.
Totally lost. Absolutely. And that's sometimes it's so scary.
Yeah.
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 This is so alone, and in the same time, everything is, but it's so much everything. Phew.
Well, it's too much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much.
Often it feels too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
If this is the reason, then that is the reason why I'm just sitting here and and listening to that, to this.
Well, you're always welcome, Hans. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. No, I thank you very much, Tim. Wow.
Thanks, Hans.
Yeah.
No, I think that's why. Yeah, this feels like the death of me, because it's too much for me. It's too much. But it's too much. Yeah, I can't bear this much. I can't bear it all. And I can't bear the aloneness either. Neither. Both are just unutterably dreadful for me. The complete aloneness and the complete love of everything. All the stuff that I've rejected, everything that is most painful for me, that too. You're giving me that. I'm having that as well. There's that, all of it. Well, I will never be able to stand that. That's how it can feel. Yeah. But it's all okay. Okay. Indescribably okay. Hi, Scott. Sorry.
You can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Scott.
Yeah, this is great with Hans, and it would be unbearable if it weren't for this feeling of love so strong. And me too. I don't like to use that because it doesn't look like at all what other people call love, because they think it's worrying about somebody or doing favors for somebody or protecting them from the big bad world or something. And
Yeah.
but I could sit in this love now. I don't even need to see it moving. I don't need to see it transferring from one person to the other. It just feels like it's a place now. I could stand in it. And if I didn't have that, the whole rest would just wipe me out completely.
It feels like that, yeah.
It's like a little nugget of, a place to put your feet for forever.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course, nobody can understand it. It can't be really expressed. And you just have to kind of grin and bear it and say, well, it's just going to have to be enough for me for now. And then if I do something like Tim's doing, or if it becomes something that wants to express itself in some way, I'll just watch it happen. But knowing that it doesn't matter, doesn't need that. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's completely against the ideal we think of love.
It
We
is,
always
yeah.
think love has to be seen and talked about and shown, and or that it can be nailed down or described or in some way made, you know, real, between quotation marks. It's just
Yeah.
too beautiful for that.
Yeah, it doesn't need that. Well, love doesn't have a need. That's the love, yeah. It includes all the needs, but it's not needy. It's not needy at all.
And I think there's a part of all of us that wants to be able to share this. I think that might be part of our DNA in some way. But just knowing that feeling it is enough. It's a game changer. It drops you from having to find the language for it, the deed, the definition, it's just, oh, this is enough. It's just enough to be in it. Oh, wow.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
Then you have to find people that they could sit in it with you. Because it looks a lot like you don't care to a lot of people. That's
exactly that. Yeah, it can look like that. It's not like that, but
yeah, it has to be so strong in you that it will outlast being misunderstood, and that's the real beauty of it.
Well, it's not in time, so you haven't got to worry about looking after love.
Thanks. I could take that off my list.
You can take that off your list, Scott. That's not on your to-do list. You know, look after love. No, it'll look after itself fine.
Yeah.
You can leave it alone. It'll be okay. You don't have to work on it or cultivate it or care for it or look after it.
With or without you, I guess.
Correct.
Thank you, Tim.
And with or without you, just the same, yeah. Yeah. And stop enjoying yourself quite so much.
Me?
Hi, Anne.
Hiya. Did you talk to me?
No, I said Han, sorry, not Anne.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I'm really happy to speak to you, though, Anne.
No, it's fine. I thought stop enjoying yourself so much. I thought, what's my face?
No, I just keep seeing Hans is just pissing himself laughing, and
Good.
it's quite lovely.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah, lovely.
May I jump in with a question?
Yeah, hi, who's that?
It's Lynette.
Hi, Lynette. Yeah,
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hi, so I imagine I'm just catching the wave with you. So you've probably covered this somewhere. But the thing that I most am struggling with right now is it never happened.
Right.
Could you speak to that?
Speak to it never happened.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah. Well, are you cooking, Lynette? What are we having? It's by the way, this is much more important. Your dinner is much more important than it never happened.
Well, I'm
So-
forever cooking. It's sort of my. It's
What are we
my-
having?
We're having some kind of a taco, a vegan, vegetarian-ish taco made with beans and mushrooms and Tokyo turnips.
Oh, nice.
Who knows? It's always
Yeah.
an adventure. I am. A recipe for me is only a suggestion of a title. That's as far as I get. I don't need a book. I just need a bunch of titles.
Oh yeah, nice. That's the way to cook.
Yeah.
Well, what did you do this afternoon, Lynette?
Well, I'm just doing it now, really. I mean, I'm cooking.
What did you,
Right?
sorry, this morning. I realized, yeah, sorry, it's only
all right.
afternoon.
So I've been having a lot of. Well, I spoke with my cousin in Costa Rica on the phone.
Okay.
So that was. Just
So
before. Mhm.
so where's the conversation with your cousin in Puerto Rico?
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
Unfindable. I know it's not here.
Well, that's it. That's all. There's no need to say any more about it.
Oh, all right. So the only thing is that it never happened. Where I can connect it to today's conversation has to do with guilt and blame and shame and
Right.
stuff like that. The attack, the claiming of,
Yeah.
of the effects that might or might not have.
Yeah. The cause and effect thing. Yeah.
So it's just that. That's
Well, the it never happened is that it's just simply that you can't pin this down. You can't pin this down to separate happenings. In order to speak about what's happening, in order to speak about life, we have to dissect it, and that's what language does. And so we said this happened and that happened, and in a sequence. So that's the first thing we do with language is we dissect up what's happening into time, linear time, sequential time. And then what we do is then from that, we then create causal happenings. So this happened and that happening led to this happening. And they're just stories that we tell. And we it's very obvious that they're only stories we tell, because if you talk to two people who both experience the same happening, they will have very different stories to tell about that, both about what actually happened and also the meaning of that happening. So what actually caused it and how did that affect this happening? They're just, so really then nothing really happened other than the story we tell about it. That's the bit you could add on.
Yes, that actually that helps a lot, honestly.
And we are but storytellers, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, if you ask, if I ask the cat, if I ask my cat what happened this afternoon, I think even if I could, if I could get some cat language so that she could describe it to me, there would be no story. She would just go, well, and actually there is no story because it's just sleeping, followed by sleeping, followed by sleeping, followed by going for a shit, followed by eating again. So that doesn't sound like a story worth telling. But of course, for self, for human beings, we've made ourselves the center. Life revolves around me. And so my story is really important. And in order to feel secure, I need to know what's happened in order to feel secure in what's happening. That's where my security of what's happening comes from. So I know what's happening has come from what has happened. That's led to this. And that isn't how it really is. How it really is it's just happening. We don't know how. There is no knowing how. There is no knowing why. There is no before this, whatever we're calling what's happening. There isn't a before or an after. You could say there's just the flow of life. and the flow is what seems to be happening. And then but the flow is also the ocean that is completely still and unmoving, as well as seemingly flowing. But there is only the flow, you could say. So nothing happened, Lynette. I don't know how you found that that's my attempt at a definition of that not happening.
You know, honestly, the most helpful bit right now, or the clarifying bit, was nothing ever happened except for the stories we tell about it.
Mhm.
That's really the gist of it. And
we have, and don't get me wrong, I mean, the stories are lovely, but stories are much more lovely when they're not real stories, when they're not stories about what really happened. They're just lovely stories, and each human being has lovely stories to tell. Well, quite a few of them are very boring if you really listen to them, but some people's stories are better than others. But when they're just that human being story of that human being's seeming life, of their experiences and how it is for them, then they're beautiful, aren't they? Even in their bore, you know, even if they're really self-absorbed and they're still okay, because they're just beautifully what they are. They can't. It's very obvious that each human being can only tell its own story.
I'm getting, my mother's 98 and she is forever repeating herself, and she is so in love with her stories and she wants to share them over and over and over again.
Oh yeah,
and
that's hard.
It's not even that she has dementia, you know, she's fully in her faculties, full faculties, but as if, I mean, how many times do I have to engage with the same story? And even, you know, it's
yeah, and you've got to try and pretend it's the first time you've heard it.
That would be kind of me. I usually shut her up.
But usually you go, for God's sake, mother, for the 100th time.
I know that. And it's even funnier when we disagree about the meaning or the events or how they,
oh yeah,
you know,
she won't want that challenge, will she?
No, and you know, it's interesting for me to well, to see my own reactions and that I am reactive and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I love her to pieces, but
yeah. Well, if my mum tells me a story of my childhood, I'm very quick to correct her.
Yeah.
On that's not how it was, Mum. Because
Mm-hmm.
of course, from my perspective, it was very, very different.
Yeah.
And there's the reality. There's the only reality of what's happened. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
And that alone can make, if that's taken on board, that alone can make what's happened much lighter. Much lighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome, Lynette. Thanks.
Hey, Tone's here, your brother.
Tone's in the house. Where is he?
There he is. Right, Tony?
There he is. Tone, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
What have you got to say? What have you got to share with us today, Tone?
I've only just joined the meeting.
Oh.
So I just come in from sort of the cold and wet. So yeah, I haven't got anything to share much.
Sorry, we're putting you on the spot. It's very unfair. That was Darren's fault.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
Tone.
fine. That's fine, Darren.
Nice to see you, mate.
Nice to see you, Darren, and lovely joke last week or Thursday was lovely joke.
Thanks.
I don't think it was.
Oh, come on.
I did have a complaint about it, Darren. Did I tell you?
Did you really?
Yeah. Did you know? Did you know I had a complaint?
I didn't know.
No. I know. Well, don't complain to me. I can give you Darren Robinson's email address, and you can personally complain to him for his very, very insensitive joke about pushing old ladies over. And
So if I get a little old lady knocking on my door, I'll know.
I said I take no responsibility for that at all. Well, time's flown. Has anybody got anything else that they'd like to ask or share? Yes, Michael.
I'd like to thank you, even though I think choice doesn't factor in, but I'd like to thank you for the time you take and the love you share. It's really quite delightful.
Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, you're really welcome. I appreciate that. Lovely.
You're missing Kelly's birthday.
Yeah, it is Kelly's birthday. I'm missing it. Yeah.
Oh, Kelly.
Yeah, she's with her family.
Good.
We celebrated her birthday yesterday. So has anyone else got anything else?
Tim, this is Scott again.
Hi, Scott.
Can I just ask you, you know, there's a reason that we want something to be happening, you know? We're making up these stories for a reason. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think we're trying to keep ourselves, convince ourselves of something or hide from something. I'd like to know what your point of view is on that.
Well, the reason is, yeah, it seems really obvious that the reason why we want what's happening and what has happened to be real is because I need that sense of grounding, that sense of reality, so that I'm real. Because if I don't really know what's happening, and if I don't have a sense of what's happening is exclusively really happening, with real objects really happening to me, then where's my reality? My sense of my own solidity, my own self is grounded in that. I need the ground to be real and only real, not unknowable. Don't get me wrong, it's not that the ground I stand on isn't real, but I don't know that reality. It's not a reality that I can, I don't know the ground. And if I don't know the ground and I don't know the weather, I don't know what's happening, what's going on, then this is boundless. Then this doesn't have any. Doesn't have anywhere for me to stand. I don't know where to stand. And for me who feels myself to be real, then that can be terrifying. So that's good enough reason why I insist on knowing what's happening. And that's why most selves, nearly every human being you speak to will mean it when they say they know what's going on. And when they have a sense of they don't know what's going on, then they will be in distress. They will feel immensely threatened. Usually we call those events trauma, when life shows you that you're not in control, that you're not managing life. You're not only are you not you're not controlling what's going on around you, you're not actually in control. The most traumatic events that can happen for a self, for me, is when I completely lose control. Probably anger, maybe grief. And for a lot of souls, they're immensely threatening. And what they're threatening is you could say the illusion of control, the myth that I am managing my life and I know myself and I know what's going on. So yeah, that's what I would say. But you've got to remember, when I say that, that's just another story.
Yeah.
That's just that's an attempt to explain that. But I mean, that is common. I would say that's not uncommon. But when, coming back to what Lynette said, when trying to explain to Lynette about there's only stories about what's happened, this isn't excluded from that scenario. When we're speaking in this way, this isn't an exclusively, okay, now this is the real story. Come and listen to this. This is the real story.
Yeah.
So that I think, and you can get lost on that, because that's what, as a seeker, that's what you've done you could say up until now, in the story of what's happened in your life. You've been going from one story to another, each one hoping that it's the real story, the real deal, with the answers.
Yeah.
And this story is
The
just
anti-story.
another story. It just happens to be my favorite, and I can't stop telling it. It's like telling bedtime stories, and you're so besotted with one of them that you tell it to your children every night and wonder why they're getting a bit fed up with it. But there is something about this story that you can't get bored in telling it. You can't. So even when, as I said earlier today, the thoughts come up, well, there's nothing to say, you've said it all, it's enough, just stop repeating that shit. Well, here it is again, telling the same old story. And
It's like you get to a crossroads, though, and you could tell that someone's just not ready to give up the story, because, and I could see it sometimes it's because they're waiting for some payback, because they've been angry at somebody for so long, they just don't want to give up that debt. So they're holding out for dad's approval or something,
mm-hmm.
The other one is, it's been so long, now you're telling me that, the ego is the first one to, add up days and weeks. Yeah. Oh, it's been 50 years, so how dare you, or that's so inconsiderate of you because today this happened, and now you're gonna, it's always got a punch ready for not going with you into this infinite, this beautiful infinite. It'd love to, but I'm just trapped.
Well, well, the thing is, there is no place for me in the infinite. You don't go into the infinite, Infinite and me are infinitely different. There's no traveling in towards this or away from this. This is that's one of the most beautiful things, is that you don't get closer or further away. regardless of what's happening. So there is just what's happening, but you could say the love and the peace and the emptiness and the okayness is unmoving. It doesn't move. So there's all this seeming movement coming and going, appearing and disappearing, being born and dying, you could say. And then that is true. And then that truth is also absolutely unmoving. So all this appearing to move, all this going on is equally not going on. Well, thanks ever so much for coming. It's as ever, I had something to say. Thanks for everyone who contributed, and thanks for everyone all of you for coming. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you'd like to make a donation, then you're welcome to do so via PayPal if you'd like to. If you'd like to be added to an email list, then just email me through timclissthis.com on the website, and you just click message and email me, and I'll put you on the list, and then you'll get the invitation sent to you for any future meetings. So by all means do that if you haven't done that already. Yeah, lovely. Lovely to see you all.
Thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you.
Thanks, Tim.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Care.